irrelevant the minute the universities started conducting their own examinations after Jamb admissions, because it says, we don't trust you. We don't trust the students you're sending us. And so we're verifying for ourselves that these people actually are worthy of coming into our institutions. And so we have so many stumbling blocks placed in front of the student. You know, instead of making access to university education broader, we're limiting it by having them take several examinations before they can even think of getting admission. And for me, I think we're focusing on a system that is in a few years going to be extinct. I'm sorry. The landscape of education in Nigeria is going to change. And I know because I'm been working with some of the top universities to take their programs online. And when they do that, they're targeting people who are professionals. They've had WAEC, they've been working, and they haven't been able to get into a university, so they just kept working. So now these professionals will not have to jump through the hoops of going through Jamb to get into these universities, because they will not be asking for Jamb scores.
But Jamb will still have some sort of influence. They will be supervising what these universities do. So it's not, they don't completely get your hands off.
Well, I don't know what kind of supervision they want to render. If National Universities Commission has the overall legal responsibility to make sure that these universities are up to standard, well, what does Jamb want to do? Except be the clearinghouse that they say it's going to be. And if I can just finish this thought, I will compare Jamb with the College Entrance Examination Board in the U.S. And with the College Board, there are members. You can sign up to be members, and you can decide to use their scores or not. And there's still a lot of controversy about even the College Board in the U.S. There are people sitting for SATs, which the College Board administers, sitting for SATs for other people. So it's just similar to what's going on with Jamb. And it's losing credibility even in the United States. So just like Jamb has lost credibility here, in my mind.
Well, yes, because, we have to go back to the reasons why Jamb itself was created in the very first instance, to set some standards in terms of what students must know before they can, get into any university. So if we have moved away from the ideals that Jamb was said to have met in the very first place, is that the fault of the institution somewhat? I mean, because I know that over the years, there have been efforts to bring back credibility into Jamb. Some years they get it right, some years they don't. But we do know that some progress has been made. Will it just be right to just scrap it on the basis of credibility?
Well, what more reason do you need we put you in place. The government said, it's over. We don't think this is viable anymore. So let's set it aside and have it do something else. So if it's not a case of who's at fault. It's a case of, let's be pragmatic here. Why do we keep an organization that is not doing what we set it up to do in the first place?
But don't you worry about standards, because if schools are going to be conducting their own exams, yesterday we talked about how a host of factors come to play in the admission process, a quota system, educationally disadvantaged areas, and all of this has a place in our admission policy. Do you not worry that standards could become a problem of sorts, for if universities start doing their thing by themselves?
They were doing it before, and when Jamb came, they were still doing it. Students still take Jamb, and then they have to take the post-UME exam, in this...
that was much later.
Well, it still means I don't go through scot-free with Jamb. I still have to take the university's exams. So why not remove the third party and let the universities conduct their exams?
But even the universities, sorry to cut you there, even the universities only deal with those who have gone through Jamb, so that if you did not quite make a certain score in Jamb, you had no chance of sitting for their own exams. I mean, even though you might call you call Jamb a clearinghouse, it still was standing in as a clearinghouse of sorts, doing some sorting for you, and then you can continue from there.
Well, I'm not sure that I support that in the first place. This is not peculiar to Nigeria. In the United States, universities actually go after this kind of students that they want. If we're trying to build an athletic program, we go after the athletes. And it doesn't matter what the college board says or what an organization like Jamb says. We take a look at your SAT. We expect you to take the SAT, but then we look at your, how many hoops, were you able to shoot on the basketball court, or how many touchdowns did you put in on the football field, or take a school like Juilliard. If I had the topmost SAT scores in the whole world, and I have no talent, Juilliard will not look at me. But you can't even write a straight sentence, but you are a whiz on the piano or the violin. They'll snatch you before they would snatch me. So we're dealing in a situation where we have a whole, the demand and supply in this country is causing our universities to be relaxed in who they go after. So let's leave the door open. Let the universities go after the kind of students that they want to admit.
And when you talk about kinds of students, it reminds me of what Chamberlain started off yesterday by saying that is it compulsory that we all must have a university education? What about the technical colleges? What about the educational institutions? Now we're talking about vocational studies. So perhaps when you talked about those who excelled in sports and maybe were gifted in the art of music and they were able to get into some form of schools outside Nigeria, why can't we also have such programs here to the extent that, such skills can be harnessed in an environment that is conducive for learning?
Well, I think the government has taken a step in that direction. And it's what the National Board of Technical Education is working on. And in fact, it's the basis of my school, which I'm rector of, Abiola Awosika. We are supposed to focus on a particular sector, whether it's music, whether it's business, whether it's banking operations, whether it's ICT, and then make sure that it's not just about theory. It's also about practice. It's about the vocation. It's about getting the skills while you're still in school. So the unfortunate thing is they have not even promoted it, sufficiently in my mind.
It brings to mind what Jamb has been doing, and if we say Jamb should be now supervisory roles only for Jamb to actually see how these people get into such institutions. What about the other institutions like maybe the colleges of education? Who now supervises those who come in? Because as of now, they haven't started doing their post-UTME exams just like some other schools.
Well, my understanding, and I think it's true for most of these other institutions, it's true for our institution. You have to still go through Jamb. Now that Jamb is being scrapped, I'm not sure how that is going to look. The clearing, and I think my main concern is actually what are these universities going to charge these students to get an application to get into them.
And I'm not sure it's going to be standardized. It will depend.
And we can make it happen. We can do what some other countries have done, which is have a common application. And Jamb can do that. You
what
go
about
online.
The cost?
And
Can they
Jamb
have a common cost?
Common cost. So you go online, you put all your information in, and they send it to as many universities as you pick. You can pick up to 7 and say, I want my application to go to XYZ university.
So you still see a role for Jamb then?
No, absolutely. I mean, don't, it's not like